Right guys, welcome back to my channel. So I want to give you a quick update with regards to my broken ankle slash leg slash tibia. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. So how did this all happen? How did I actually break my tibia? So basically, I recommended the SEMA X5C drawing to a guy who I do know. And basically, I thought, if he gets the drawing, I could meet up with him in a few days later and I could show him the ropes of how to fly drones. Now, by the time I actually went down and visited this guy, it turned out he had actually crashed his drone up a tree. Therefore, he had already made the mistakes that many drone pilots do, and he crashed his drone in a tree. So we went down and we tried to, get this drone out of the tree. And what happened is when I tried to climb up the tree, I fell off. Now, when I fell off onto uneven ground. So that meant that my right foot, my right ankle, took all the trauma slash impact from the landing. And I just thought that I'd sprained my ankle. Yes, it was very sore, and I just generally, thought that I'd sprained my ankle. I thought there was no point going to a hospital because, quite frankly, there's long waiting times and stuff like that. And I just thought, we'll just forget about it. So for 3 weeks, I had been walking about on this sprained ankle when it turned out that the sprained ankle wasn't actually sprained. I actually had, like hairline fractures on my tibia. So after being on the couch for 3 weeks and walking about and going on my electric skateboard and putting up with a little bit of pain, I then decided that I was going to go into Manchester and make a vlogging video. And when I went into Manchester, my goal was to visit Media City, which is in Salford Quays. It's a beautiful area of Salford Quays. If you're ever in Salford Quays, I highly recommend that you visit Media City. It's home to the BBC, Granada, and it's also home to the Imperial War Museum, which is free and very good to go and visit, particularly with your families. Now, when I was in Salford Quays on my electric skateboard, I thought I'll get this particular shot. And I sent my drone out over Salford Quays, over the river. I'm not too sure if it's the River Irwell or if it's a different river, but it's the Manchester Ship Canal. So I actually sent my drone out over the Manchester Ship Canal and I basically framed this shot. And as I went down and basically when I was leaning to turn around, what had actually happened was I felt something snap by my shin. Now when I felt the snap, I knew that this was not going to be good news. And when I brought my electric skateboard to a stop, fire its brake, I went to step off the skateboard, and when I put my right leg down onto the ground, it was then that I realised that I had in fact broken it. So what I done was I phoned up for the ambulance. The ambulance guys, they came out and they took me to Salford Royal Hospital. When I was there, I was basically rushed through. These guys were fantastic with me. They basically rushed me through, got me x-rayed and stuff like that. And then I found myself being, in a half-cast plaster. Now, if you don't know what a half-cast plaster is, it's basically a cast that goes on your leg, but only half of it goes on your leg. So this basically allows for any swelling of the ligaments to expand and the plaster won't affect the swelling. So that was pretty cool. However, it turned out that they wanted to keep me in overnight because these guys were a little bit confused as to, when I'd actually broken my ankle. Did I break it when I fell from the tree 3 weeks ago, or did I actually break it on this particular day? Now, it turns out these are saying, look, they came to the conclusion saying, look, you broke it when you fell out of the tree, and because you didn't rest, that is why it's just, got worse, and then eventually it snapped when you were out on your electric skateboard. So again, I stayed in Salford Royal overnight, and then in the morning I was discharged. I was given my medication. I was given, these paracetamol. I was given ibuprofen tablets. I was also given codeine phosphate tablets, and I was mixing these, and as you take them. Not only that, but I also had to use one of these. This is basically called tanzipowin, and tanzipowin is literally needles which you have to inject into your stomach. And what this stuff does is that it thinnens your blood. So this one's spent. So yeah, this stuff, it thinnens your blood, and it prevents blood clots. So I've had to inject myself 19 times, guys. 19 times I've had to inject this stuff into my stomach. So the original idea was that I was going to go back to Salford Royal on the 13th of this month, and the thing was I couldn't get back to Salford Royal, but Stepping Hill Hospital is on my doorstep. So I basically said, look guys, can you transfer me from Salford Royal over to Stepping Hill Hospital, and I'll be able to easily manage to get to Stepping Hill. Now the letter came through the door saying, yeah, we'll take you. Stepping Hill said we'll take you. So I actually went today to see my doctor. I believe it was Dr. Rubin. And, yeah, when I went there, this is how it gone. So I arrived at the hospital, and I was walking around the place trying to find where this fracture clinic was. Now, I thought there was going to be at this certain part of the hospital because I was looking at a map. But I think the map I was looking at was a very old map, because it turns out the place where I actually wanted to be was the same place where I've been twice before. Because I remember on an instance where I I fractured a bone in my elbow, and then there was that other time when I was out wild camping and I got a rotary strain injury or something like that, so I had to go again to the clinic. So when I went today, I was back in the same place. The only difference this time is I've seen a totally different doctor from what I did on the last previous occasions. So he had a look at the x-ray. They took my x-ray. He had a look at it, and he came in and he said, right, basically everything looks great on the x-ray. He said, what we're going to do is we're going to get you out of this half cast. So then he put me in the plaster room where they actually took off the half cast with back slab plaster. And to be honest with you guys, I am so glad that that is now off me. That was kind of pretty uncomfortable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it, because it has done the job, and it's brought the pain down dramatically. My ankle is healed dramatically from what it was before. So the doctor, he comes back into the plaster unit and he examines my foot in its natural form, in its skin form. And he basically noticed the bruising around, and he touched my shin and he's like, does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? I'm like, no, it doesn't. He's like, great news. He turned around to me and said, right, okay, this is how it's going to work today. He said, basically, what has happened, okay, is that your bone, so if you think of a pencil, so let's say that's a pencil, right? He's saying your bone is perfectly aligned. He said, from the x-ray, your bone is perfectly aligned. And he said, however, right, he said, they're going to put me in a new boot. And he said to me, do not put any weight on this foot whatsoever. And he said to me, because if you put any weight on this foot, what's going to happen is you're going to snap the bone again. And if you snap the bone, that means we're going to have no option but to take you into surgery. That means you're going to have a metal plate drilled into your bone in order to keep your bone together. Now, I promised the doctor I will not put any weight onto this ankle. Guys, to be honest with you, in 6 months' time, I want to be out running again. I want to be out wild camping. I want to be out, on my electric skateboard. I want my life back to the way it was before I climbed this stupid sodden tree, okay? Now, I accept things have happened, so I accept that. So I basically told the doctor, exactly what I've told you. I won't, because I want my life to get back to normal like the way it was. So the doctor has basically put me in one of these air cast boots. Now, I've got to be honest with you, these air cast boots are actually very, very comfortable indeed. Now, how it works, if you have a look here, it has these little, dials where you turn around. If you turn it to number 1, then that is for the right hand side. If you turn it to number 2, that is for your left hand side. So if you're on number 1 and then you press this button and you keep on pumping that button, what you're doing is you're pumping up that side of the boot with oxygen, air. And then if you do the same with the other side, you pump up that side with air. And what that does is that it just compresses the entire bone. You feel me, guys? It just compresses the muscles and the bone together, and it stops all the movement. And it is really very, very comfortable. Now, the good news is as well, yes, I am allowed to stand on I'm allowed to stand with this broken leg. It's at the point where it will allow me to stand up. I'm just not allowed to walk on it or put any weight on it by itself. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to update you with regards, to this medical condition that I'm currently in at the minute. I really wanted to be knocking out some more YouTube videos left, right and centre, but again, this stuff happens. I didn't plan to be in hospital overnight. I didn't plan to be breaking my lower tibia. Now let me explain this just before I finish the video, guys. I've actually got a spiral fracture of the lower tibia. So what does that mean? Well, basically what happens when you break your bones, your bones will snap in a number of different ways. So because I was moving when mine officially snapped, that caused me to have a spiral fracture. We've all seen, like crime scene investigation. You get blood splat. If you throw water or like a drop of blood hits a surface a certain way, it will leave telltale signs of what direction it hits that surface. Well, that's what my bone has done. My bone has basically told the doctors what direction I was in when I actually snapped it. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this by saying, look, I am totally proud to be British. Our National Health Service is absolutely fantastic. The NHS, to me, they're the unsung heroes, guys. They are the #1 emergency service in my honest sweet little head, okay? I've got the most respect for our National Health Service, and again, it's something I'm proud about to be British. But guys, I'm going to say to you, bear with me, okay? 6 weeks, I should be back, I should be producing more content, I should be back out in the field working on Fox Recon. I should be out again in the city, making more vlog videos, and most importantly, I should be out in the field flying my DJI Phantom 3 Advanced again. Guys, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you all later.